guys. So we just got to Los Angeles.
Back home for 3 days.
Nobody knows what we're doing here yet, whatever.
We're telling all of you now because you're going to watch it later.
We're about to have a great time. We're only here for 72 hours and we have 2 podcasts, 1 live show, 3 podcasts, 1 live show. It's going to be a lot. It's loud, so see you in the transition.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the vlog, to our members only that we haven't done. I don't think we've done like a members only in like 2-3 weeks since whenever we were in Hilton Head before.
Right. No, it's been a while, but also we've been on the go. And I think it's more fun to do these members only vlogs when we have like, we're taking trips, we're going places, things that like are
a little more interesting. Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, because Jason and I are boring.
I want to say like after we work, we kind of just veg and get in our little bubble. But we had such a great trip to LA. We wanted to kind of share with you some of our moments and some of the things that happened there. I felt like, and I don't know how you felt about this, Adam, that this trip was like 2 weeks long.
I was exhausted. Okay.
Exhausted.
Like 72 hours felt like, it felt like 2 weeks, but we were nonstop. I have a bad habit, you guys, where I overload our plate. I take on way too much. I feel like I can do it all. And sometimes maybe I can, sometimes I can't. But like, I feel like with the help of Jason and us doing it together, we can take on anything. And once you get in it, it's like, holy cow, this is nonstop. This is not a vacation. I always laugh when our family's
it's
like,
never a vacation. If we're doing something with work, like a live show or an interview or whatever, I promise you it is not a vacation, because every moment leading up to the interview or every moment leading up to the show or the meetings or whatever is work. It's work. And so, yeah, it's really funny. But we are taking a vacation, which I'm really excited about, with our mothers at the end of the year, which we could also do a vlog on. That will be really fun. But I guess we should start from the beginning, because, we get a lot of interview requests, or we send a lot of interview requests, and Scheana had reached out to you and said, hey, come to my show.
Yeah.
Right. And we were like, well, we don't live in LA anymore, so probably not. And yeah. And then you also were talking to Heather McDonald about doing Juicy Scoop a few weeks back. And then so we kind of like put 2 and 2 together, and I'm like, oh my God, we can do 2 things at once. We can go see Scheana's show, which ended up being something we participated in, which I'll let you explain, but it was kind of like a 2-for-1.
Our itinerary, by the way, guys, going there was to show up, right? We were getting off the plane. We were going straight into work, and it was meeting up with a housewife from Beverly Hills, meeting up with, 2 housewives from Beverly Hills, 1 housewife from Orange County, 1 live show, 2 podcast interviews, and Juicy Scoop. That's right. In 72 hours. That is what we loaded on our plate, while also seeing our friends that Jason's been friends with for over 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So this is 72 hours. Now, I'll kind of walk you guys through it for a second. And Jason, if I miss anything,
well,
go ahead and
I would say go back and go to the beginning, because when Scheana called you about her show, she's like, you asked her, so what are you doing? Like, what's your format? Like, how are you scripting this out? What it's going to be like? And she was like, I don't know yet.
But you know what the funniest part about this is, I love writing. After doing the first, few live shows, that was my biggest, I needed that to be so organized, because one of my biggest things that gives me anxiety is, I have social anxiety, and I also don't like speaking in front of crowds. And that was going to be like a huge fear of mine to face. So when we were writing the shows, I felt it needed to be like, I need to know every single point, so I don't go up there and freeze and have my stomach sink into my ass,
Even if you just have the bullet points, the cliff notes on cards, this is what, this is our intro. This is where the music starts. This is where you come on. This is what, use this time for this, use this time for this. But we ended up scripting her whole show for her with her. And it was just so fun to see the outcome of that. But now I'm jumping ahead of myself. So I guess we should jump back and go to where the trip actually started.
Can I say really quick too? I would have never spoke about helping Scheana with her show, because it already seems like, sometimes I get people who will say, Adam, you're not qualified to talk about Vanderpump Rules because you're friends with everybody. And I'm like, I don't want more of that. And I also don't need credit for Scheana's show. But when she did her podcast and she did that and said that, I was like, okay, she talked about it. That was really sweet of her. She didn't need to give us the credit. But going back, we ended up, so Jason printed off all the cards. We helped her with the notes. We organized the show. And Scheana has been, working her tail off with filming, and they have to make sure that season 11 lives up to the hype. So it's just nonstop for the cast right now. They just wrapped, but it was go, 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 go. So the moments that I would have her on the phone to be able to be like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? She's like, no to this, yes to this. Okay. So Jason and I formatted this show literally sitting on little rainbow floaties in a pool in 30 minutes. Okay. Yeah. And the fact that everybody was so happy with this, and Scheana and her mom and the cast, they thought it was such a great show. I was so happy about that. But on the first day, we're, getting on the plane and we land, and I get a text message from Scheana, and she said, hey, do you want to come to brunch? It's James and Jax, and they're going to be hosting this brunch, right? So I said, yeah, we'll go, whatever. She said, Lisa's going to be there. And I'm like, great. Lisa loves Jason. So that's perfect. And
which makes me nervous. The last time I saw Lisa before this trip was the day before they decided to close Pump for the pandemic. Yeah. It was the night before. I put her in her car after dinner. Her and Ken left, and I think Nick Lane was there and stuff like that. And, my mom was visiting. And then the next day I got the phone call, and they're like, hey, we're closing up Pump. It's going to be at least 2 weeks. And I was like, so I just worked a Saturday night, and then I never saw Pump again. And I never saw Lisa until this past weekend, which was really fun. But yeah, we landed and went straight to the hotel. And then
that actually, your story plays into the after party, though. And we're all over the place right now, guys. But listen, this trip was all over the place. The after party, because we helped Scheana, I said to Scheana, we have a friend who runs a place called Melrose Place, LA. Now, Jason worked at Pump for so long, but when they closed Pump, all of our friends and the staff did sort of a Pump funeral. And Jason wanted to go and just see everybody, because like he said, after the pandemic, we never went back. And so we organized this whole thing, and Scheana was really great about it. Chrissy, Melrose Place, LA, they were amazing. I mean, it was bottle service. It was like the whole nine, and probably about over 100 people that we knew, right?
Right.
So it was this whole party, and I wanted to surprise you with all of these people, because when my grandfather passed away, we decided not to go back to LA and go to Pump. So it was kind of a moment that was, I felt like it was taken away from you, and you're like, no, it's not a big deal.
Oh my God, no, it's not a big deal.
I know.
You know what's crazy? I know we're going to talk about that and the after party too, but I hired this girl named Chrissy when it was like when I was first at Pump, maybe like a little bit after I was at Pump. And
she was so wild.
She was wild, but she really wanted to do what she's doing now, which is run hospitality, nightlife, stuff like that. It's crazy to see the turnaround, because knowing her for so long, what she did is she stole all of the Pump people when Pump closed to go work at this new place. And it's amazing. It was incredible. And now I'm a bit jaded with like nightclubs, and like they all look the same to me. It's all the same experience, the same thing happening. But I have to say, it was so cool to see everybody who we all used to work together for years in a different environment. Like they take care of each other. And that's the family dynamic, I think, that we always talked about working at those places.
And really, it was kind of like a little star-studded event. Like we had Shaw's, we had Vanderpump Rules, we had Too Hot to Handle.
I think we need to rewind.
Okay. So let's go back. We get off the plane, you guys. and we get to our hotel. Our hotel was the Kimpton. And you know, I thought it was cool because we're staying next to the Carlisle, and that's where Yolanda stayed when she was divorcing David Foster. Anyways, getting back to it. So
that's the one thing you think of from
that was the one thing I thought of.
Okay. Nice.
And we ended up ordering a bite because we were going to the brunch. And I texted Scheana and I said, how far are you? She said, probably about 30 minutes. I said, well, we're going to be there in 20. So I'll just wait outside for you, or we'll go to Tom Tom and see our friend. She's like, no, don't be ridiculous. Go get a table. And I'm like, it's so weird because I have such a history with Sir that it's weird for me to go in by myself or with you.
I mean,
just without
same.
them.
I don't know what it is, but that kind of preconceived notion of like, I don't really want to walk in here. You know what I mean? Like, even though you know it so well, and it's like your memories and everything. But I think we were a bit shocked when we did walk in and just were greeted by so many welcomes and hugs and, you know, seeing people that, I mean, we haven't seen in like a long time.
I had this one girl walk up to me too, and I remember her specifically because she was at Scheana's show, and I'm not going to say her name, but she walked up to me and she was so sweet, and she's like, I just want to say I watch your YouTube channel and thank you for always posting and all this other stuff. And she was just kind of like quick about it. And I gave her a hug and I was so happy. I was just like, that is really sweet of you. You didn't have to come up to me. And that was like the calm before the storm. And then all of a sudden I get another tap on my shoulder while we're waiting for Scheana, and it's a producer. And he goes, hey, Adam.
He's like, hey, Adam. Yeah.
What did he say? Because I
was like hey, Adam, nice to see you. Because, you know, we did those interviews, right? And I remember him from doing the interviews for Vanderpump Rules. And he's like, hey, Adam. He's like, so I know you're here. So we're not talking about anything that's happening here, right? You're not recording on your phone or anything. We're like, no, we're literally here to support. You know, it's not. I mean,
he's like,
the things we saw, the things, yeah, exactly. They were like, we watch your YouTube, but the things that we saw and the things that were happening, you would have to have an idea of what was happening before or what was going to happen after. So it's nothing. What I really think, though, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be all over the place here.
No,
what I think is going to happen is I think we might. I'm biting myself in the butt here because I've said it so many times. Like, Vanderpump Rules is done. You know, like season of completion. But I really think the energy that we saw in filming and some of the things that we've heard, because we get a lot of information, we don't share all of that information because it ruins everything for everybody. So
that's fair.
I really think we're going to see another season of Vanderpump Rules after season 11.
I do too. And
I think there's enough.
And I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think that there was a lot of energy. The cast looks amazing. Katie, like when everybody kept walking in, Lisa, we sat there and talked to Lisa for a little bit. And it's funny because Lisa was saying to you, she's like, you know, like people were coming up to her and she was trying to get to where she was going in the back to film her scenes. But used to, when Jason worked at Pump, she would grab onto Jason when people would like bombard her because it's a safe space for her. And she did the same thing where she leaned into you and you're like, I don't work here anymore.
I was like, girl, I don't work for you anymore. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was what I was pleasantly surprised with too is that she wasn't as bombarded as she usually is, you know, at her restaurants and stuff. I mean, because people always say, well, if you don't want to be seen and you don't want to be bombarded, why do you go to your restaurants? But at the same time, when you're a restaurateur, you only go to your restaurants and you need to know what's happening and you should know what's happening and you should eat there. You should experience it because you are going to know what's wrong and what's working. You know,
they know everything.
They know everything. Believe me, they know everything.
What did I say the other day? Believe you me. You're like, why the fuck? Just say believe me. I'm like,
you're like, I don't know. You me.
It sounded so cryptic or whatever. But anyways, okay. So let me take you guys through the rest of the story because we're dragging this out. So we went to the brunch, and after that, they were miking up Scheana, Lala, Ariana, Katie, and everybody. And that was at the point that I was like, you know what? That's when they have to actually work, right? So we had fun. We got to see everybody, say hi, rub elbows, whatever. And then we went to Tom Tom because Tom Tom is where all of my friends worked. And I still have a few friends there, like Logan, who you guys see with Ariana. He's managing the place. And we have a good friend, Rocco, and Brett, who was the guy who was skinny dipping in the trailer last season. So just faces that, you know, it's so nice when we come into town. I at least want to go see them. And then Jason had a few faces across the street that he wanted to go see. So we used the rest of that day to just go hang out with everybody, which we had a blast. And then that night we have a friend who Jason's known, and I've known for 10 years. He's known for about 15, I think. And we went to dinner with her. We went to this like steakhouse place. And then that was the end of our night. But it felt like all day because we woke up at 3:30 in the morning to head to the airport. It was an hour-and-a-half drive. And then we probably went to bed at 12 o'clock at night. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was.
Which is also 3 o'clock in the morning here. So we stayed up for 24 hours.
It's so funny because you know when I'm having a good time, and I usually don't love going to LA and stuff like that. I really don't. We lived there for so long, and you just feel like you've been there, done that, know everything, you know everybody. It's the same situation. It doesn't change. It doesn't go anywhere, but it's sometimes really nice to revisit, right? But you know when I'm having a good time because I walked into dinner with our friend and I was just a little loosey-goosey, like, not like I normally am, but we had the best dinner.
We were jet lagged.
I sobered up.
Listen, first of all, that's okay. We were having a good time.
We were having a good time.
And nobody got hurt in the making of this movie. Okay.
No. So next day,
this is what happened. I went downstairs and I'm just like collecting my thoughts, gathering thoughts from the night before. I'm on the phone with my mom, my dad. I tell them everything. Literally, I talk to them like 3 times a day each. And then also my mother-in-law. And I'm just walking them through the day and how it felt like I was wearing a wire at SUR. And producers were like, no. And we were laughing. And I got Jason and I breakfast. And I came back upstairs and I was like, you gotta go. You gotta get out of the room. I have to record.
You gotta work. Yeah, I went to go. You know what's really nice? I walked around this neighborhood we were in, which I really love, guys. It's changed a lot. Like LA has an issue with some stuff, you know, happening, and I really wish they would fix it because it's such a beautiful city. But this little neighborhood is gorgeous. They have this area, it's called the Wilshire Corridor, where our hotel was, and it's where like these are some really nice condo buildings, like stuff you would see in New York, you know, and then right behind you have like the Mormon temple, and then, which is just a big, you know, kind of monument of LA, like you see it when you're coming in. And then you have like Century City and the mall and stuff like that. So it was so fun to walk around. The weather was beautiful. We got so much done. Then we came back, we cut up the cards, we got everything ready for the show.
Jason, where are we going?
We're on our way to the Bourbon Room to go to Shenanigans Live. The show is right here. It's going to be so exciting.
Hold that elevator. I just want to show everyone the view.
The weather here is so nice too. It's not like Florida where it's fucking hot.
Oof. Keep the fit. I'm giving leg. Are you excited?
I'm excited. It's fun. We haven't been there since Spilling Tea, which is kind of cool, and it'll be fun.
It'll be fun. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, you know, you had to work, so I had to work, right? Yeah. So we got stuff done, and then literally we jumped in an Uber and we went over to Scheana's show, or to the Bourbon Room, and talked with her. We ran through the show as much as we could. And, you know, I'm going to be honest a little bit, because when we did live shows, or when we do live shows, we really go over in a rehearsal, like, way. Like, we rehearse. Everything is rehearsed. So we were walking through the show and I'm like, is she going to be able to pull this off? Because it was great. Because not only was she doing a show, a live podcast show, she was performing 2 songs. Good as Gold, which she opened the show with, and then Apples, which she closed the show with. So she had a sound check, and then she threw on to us, oh, you have a meet and greet in like 30 minutes. I'm like, I know. But she was so calm, right? And I'm like, girl, I'm stressing for you. I'm stressing for you right now, you know?
I wasn't worried about her though, because, you know, from knowing her for so long, Scheana is able to pull it together really quick.
Yeah.
And in this moment, it's not like there was like much to pull together. I'm saying like she had the format, she knew the format, but the thing is like, we didn't actually really go over it on stage a whole lot. We went over it for maybe 4 minutes right before with the cards. Boom, 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 boom.
Mind you, she's had the whole like show format in front of her face for days. So I'm sure, she, you know, we don't know what she's doing all the time. I'm sure she looked over it because the show was amazing.
Where are we going? Into the room?
Yeah.
It's been a minute since we've been here, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep them all together because these two sections are
It is?
back to
Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Just hit the draw for me.
Yeah, and there were certain parts. She killed it because like I was saying earlier, Adam, like you have like that foundation, you have your points. And if you're able and you're capable to work around those points, it's great. I mean, she knocked it out of the park. It was super fun. You emceed it, which I don't think a lot of people expected, which was amazing. Oh my God. So before the show started, I have to tell you a little story.
Oh God.
I'm talking a lot. Sorry.
No, I love this.
I was looking for you because I was sitting back with the lighting and sound technicians because I was responsible to make sure every cue goes off because they hadn't run the show before, you know, whatever. And it was the same guys who did your live show last year. So I already knew them. It was really fun. I'm like, we're doing this and this and this. And he's like, are you going to stay with me this time? I'm like, I'll stay with you this time. And it was great. But I needed to find you. And I'm looking for you everywhere. And Adam, I swear the same thing happened at BravoCon when I was trying to look for you. You're always in this weird space having a crazy conversation. So I go backstage, I open the curtain, I'm looking, and then I turn to the left. And you and Heather McDonald are like sitting there, like crouched over in what looks to be a very uncomfortable position for both of you. And you're just like talking like this and talking about things. And it was very serious. And then you both looked at me. And I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Like, I'll see you after the show. I didn't know you guys were in such an intense conversation.
It really wasn't an intense conversation. We were talking about, because I was doing Juicy Scoop the next day. We were talking about that we're just going over a different show while we were getting ready for this show. So it just goes to show, okay, take a drink every time I say show here, but it just goes to show that it was non-stop. That's what I mean. And then,
oh my God, it was non-stop.
You know, you were at the sound booth, which was so funny. We met a lot of people that night and it was so great. It wasn't our show. So it was just fun to kind of meet everybody, see everybody. And this one girl messaged me on Instagram afterwards because the sound booth, the sound technician is in the very back of the room, parallel to the stage, if you haven't been to the Bourbon Room. And Jason sat there the whole time to make sure when Heather McDonald walked on stage, that music hit. When she walked off stage, that music hit.
And there were lighting cues too.
Hit.
Yeah,
like lighting, everything. So Jason was there making sure it was going like whatever. And I was getting ready to walk on stage. And Jason's like, are you ready for this? And I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm ready. And you're like, okay, like it would just be a shame if you dubbed Scheana's show.
I didn't say it like that.
No,
I didn't say it like that.
You didn't say it like that, but you just said, you know, like this is like, you got it pretty much. Like you got this.
Like you've got it, but at the same time, you have to kill it. You're hosting someone else's show.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not your show to F up, right? So
it's not my show to F up. Which is like, by the way, it's like no pressure, right? And it was true. It's not my show to mess up. So I went out there and I don't know if I thought I was a comedian or what, but I started telling story, like giving after Scheana's good as gold performance. She wanted to do an outfit change. Originally, she didn't. And I said, no, we need at least 2-3 outfit changes.
We need two changes, girl. Like it has to. No, we need 2 changes.
2 changes. And at first she was like, really? And I was like, yes. So she's so happy that she did that. But then I go up on stage and I'm telling the story, trying to buy her time. And I'm waiting for her sister to come out from the back of the stage to give me the cue that she's ready and done and changed. And I'm like, you guys are probably wondering, who the hell is this guy and what is he doing up here? And then I'm going down the story list and then I'm making jokes and and you're like, you're not a comedian. I'm like, I know. And I ran with it, guys. And I tried and I was like, I'm going to see if these
It was
land.
so good, Adam.
And
it
I
was
had the people laughing.
People were laughing. I was laughing because you came out of the woodworks. You did have a joke, which is probably why I've received so many DMs and you received so many DMs about like, what did you say? You were like, I met Scheana. What did you say? I met Scheana when she was on her first
husband. I got my first job because of Scheana, and I also met my first husband because of Scheana. But I was like, and don't worry, Jason, despite what they say, you're not going anywhere anytime soon. But also, it worked out way better for Scheana the second time. So if you I'm not mad at it.
Our friends were laughing. I was laughing. But yeah, we got
innocent.
a few DMs and like, I saw you guys were on the opposite sides of the room at the show. And I'm like, right, because I was in the sound booth doing all of the cues and staying back there to make sure everything was running smoothly, and you were hosting the show, so we wouldn't be near each other. Like, that's just how it is. We're working.
No, I was over on the side with the cast of The Valley, the new cast, and then Lala.
We're great, mom, by the way.
They so nice.
I really think The Valley is going to be good,
really good. And then it was Lala, her mom, the Gusmans, Leo, and Logan, who are such trouble, but they're so hilarious. And then
what did Heather say they're like? What does she say that they're like? Like thing one or thing two or something like that? They always come like with trouble, but it's fun. Yeah, they're so funny.
They're like swinging from trees at the after. I don't even know what we'll get back to them in a second. But I'm on this side of the room. And also I'm sitting there with her manager, Scheana's manager, and I'm making sure that the cues are hitting and making sure that the time is on track. So I'm like watching and I'm like trying to see like, okay, let's kind of, this part needs to be this long. This part needs to be this long. So I'm in full work mode. Right. And then the waitress keeps coming up to me and she's like, do you want to drink? Do you want to drink? And I'm like, no, after the show, I will have a drink. I don't want to drink. And
not before.
She was so nice though. She was great. Apparently it's a family business. So shout out to the Bourbon Room. But
so the Bourbon Room is designed after the Rock of Ages. So the whole set of Rock of Ages is like the Bourbon Room. It's really cool.
So then we end up going through and we had Scheana's performance. I came up emceed. Scheana came back and she did her fan account trivia game. She did that. She didn't, where she gave backstory, called up Heather McDonald. Heather and Scheana killed it together. Everybody was laughing at Heather's jokes. And then she phased Heather off, right? Because Heather was on for only X amount of time, and then brought up Brock for a game of sip or spill. So we did audience interaction questions where I'm running through the audience with the mic. And if they asked a question, and obviously if it had anything to do with a spoiler for season 11, they had to sip their drink. They couldn't spill the tea. So it was just a fun game.
It was fun
for them to be able to play. Yeah. Yeah. And then from there, we had a last question planted from our friend Norma, who was in the audience. And I said, I need you to ask when they're going to, when she's going to perform Apples for the first time.
Wait, no, I think, yes. Yeah. So she was like, I just want to ask, because you just released this great song. It was such a great plant question, right? And you're like,
she did it so well.
First time. I know. And then what did Scheana say? Well, how about right now? And the band was like ready. And it was freaking awesome.
And I took 3 more questions for Brock while she changed into her last outfit. And I was like, no, the outfit changes are everything, girl. If you're putting this on the vlog, let's do it up. Like, let's give people stimulate the mind. Let's give them a lot to look at. And she did that. And so I'm running around doing audience questions. There was one time where I hear from the side stage, because there's 2 VIP sections, right? So from the other side where Katie, James, Ali, Ariana, they're all sitting, I hear Ariana screaming, Adam, for an audience question. Adam, Guys, I'm so dumb. So I go up and I'm like, from the woman herself, praised around after the scandal of it all. And I'm like leading up to Ariana and I hear, no, shut up. No. It was Katie who wanted to ask the question. So then that's probably why we got shit too, because I was like, oh shit, just kidding, you guys. It's actually Katie. And by the way, Katie, you look amazing. The best you've looked since I've ever met you. Divorce looks good on you, girl. Actually, Jason, maybe you should be careful. So I made a lot of funny jokes. That's probably why you got. Doesn't matter. I don't care if we get.
It doesn't matter. People think they know. Yeah. Anyway, it was a great show.
Girl, like she's 30, okay? Raquel, yeah, I'm so glad you asked that, Bethany. I'm so glad you did.
It was a great night. Shout out to I've never met Scheana's sister Courtney.
Oh, she's so cute.
I've never met her. When I tell you guys, this is the person behind all of the stuff. Like she runs all of these social accounts and manages people. I've never met someone more on it. Like, cause I like to pretend I'm on it, you know, but she's like a little Kris Jenner running around. It's amazing. She was so lovely. I just got to give a big shout out. She always brought me with her. It's like, this is Jason. Jason, you need to meet this person because we're doing this together and this would be a good connection. She's just a really great person, but the show went off without a hitch. The timing of the show was perfect because you know how if you sit too long, you get bored and you don't want to be there anymore. And I felt like maybe when we did our first show in LA, it was like that. It went on a little too long. So that's something we were telling her, you got to be careful of that because we've been through this and you don't want it to go like that. So the show went off without the hitch. We've heard a shit ton of drama that apparently happened at the show. We don't remember that. I don't remember any drama, just besides that one person who is very drunk putting his finger in your face. But besides that, the real drama
on the arm. Yes.
The real drama happened at the after party.
I was going to say, real drama. You know, what's funny too, is, you know, I've also heard about these things, right? So
I mean, you had to be there.
If you ask anybody in the room, and everybody for the most part was sober, right? I'm sitting there talking to MJ from Shaw's. That's who I was talking to when this drama went down. Everybody was sober. There was no drama. The drama happened when we got to the after party. The drama was with Tara Reid. That was the drama. God.
So first of all, there's this new club. I mean, I don't know how all these new clubs are popping up like after the pandemic. I guess people want to go out or something, but like my friend we were talking about earlier, or our friend who runs it, called Melrose Place, and we used to live like just across the street on Melrose Place on a street called Croft. So it was really weird to see that they built up this thing. And you had gone with our friend Jamie and I rode with our friend Rocco because you were doing like a surprise, right? And I got there, I'm like, this is so LA. Like you have the lines, you have that.
They wouldn't let me in. Do you remember? Because I'm like, I'm calling.
No, I don't. I don't remember because I walked straight in with Rocco because he worked there.
Oh, so when I went to walk in, they said, you can get in line. And I was like, no, I have an actual party going on upstairs. Scheana, everybody was there. And so I called Chrissy and she's like, hey, what's up? And I said, hey, they're telling me I have to get in line, that that they don't know what party I'm talking about. And Chrissy's like, hold on, I'm sending a text message right now. Tell him to look at his phone, the security guard. And I said, Chrissy wants me to tell you to look at your phone. He looks at the phone and he's like, right this way. And I was like, oh, thank you. That's very nice of you. Thank you. So then we went up to the rooftop and it was just, and it was all going. It was all happening. And you see, like, it was all from Too Hot to Handle, Love Island, Vanderpump Rules, Shaw's of Sunset, like Tara Reid, which I don't even know where the hell she came from. And I'm like, what is going on in here?
You know, I've met Tara Reid before at a premiere. I'm going to pull up a photo.
I met her at Sir. Yeah. But it was so fun because we had this table and we were sitting there and, you know, I saw Ariana, Katie, Heather McDonald, and all them sitting there. And I just sat down to talk to Ariana. I wanted to talk to Ariana and Katie because I haven't seen them since the scandal happened. Last time I saw them was at the premiere. And I didn't really get to talk to them that night at the show. So
that was another moment, by the way, when I came in, and since you invited all of my friends, I was like bombarded by people. So we were sitting, I was over here at
Not
the bar and you guys,
bombarded.
no, in a good way. Like
Yeah.
there was just so many conversations going on, right? And so when I
Mhm.
finally found you, I found you in one of those moments again where you're like hunched over with Ariana, and I'm like, can I never like when I need to talk to you, I can never get to you because you're always like having this deep, intense conversation. I'm like, about what? There's nothing else to talk about.
Well, no, I wanted her to know that even though it's our job at this point to talk about what's going on with Bravo drama and all of that, like it was just sort of like a no harm, no foul. Like, you know, I wanted to be transparent with her and just tell her I've always enjoyed my time with Ariana, also with Katie. I really like both of them. So I just wanted that to come across and me to say that, not in like an ass kissing moment, but I've known you guys for
It's
a
different.
decade.
It's different because you had relationships with all of these people and friendships way
And then I'm
before
talking
there
about
was
them.
Up and Adam, way before there was stuff, you know. So like when people say, you know, like you shouldn't be talking about it because of course you're going to be biased, but at the same time you have more information to give and a perspective that I think gives better information than just speculating and just guessing or you know, like some kind of, sometimes I watch some other creators and sometimes they're so matter of fact about the information they have and then it turns out to be very wrong, you know. So at least you have that kind of I don't know, connection with that. And I think that's great. And I think that's your part of your job too, is to really literally every day, guys, I don't know if Adam's going to kill me for saying this, but Adam is always on the phone with somebody every day. I'm like, who are you on the phone with? He's like, really? And it's just like, it's like Bravo talent, Bravo people, but it's really great because we get a great insight of things, but not things are not leaked to us. Well, they are leaked to us. We just choose not to bring them up, but
Yeah.
I like the way you respect those relationships and you respect your channel and what you put on the channel.
Well, I also respect the fact that the talent is spending a lot of time trying to create a show, and I don't want to ruin things, but I will talk about it if it's already leaked. Like, say, our friend Jenny at Bravo and Blaze, if she puts something up, or Glorified Gossip, or any of these accounts all about the Real Housewives, if they put it up and it's already out there, then I have no problem talking about it. I just don't want to ruin my relationship with NBC, with Bravo, with the reps, and with the talent. I just like, it's, you know,
it just makes for a better, honestly, makes for a better conversation. You know, no one is telling us not to do things or whatever. If there's a like a long time ago, we got a request to remove something, and it had to do with something that was happening off the show and off of YouTube, with you know, legalities and stuff like that. So we don't want to be involved in that. That's not what we do. But man,
had nothing
what
to
a
do
night.
with us, by the way.
But while you were talking to Ariana, we have to get back to the drama. What happened?
Okay. So,
because you didn't say this on Juicy Scoop, or maybe you did, about the ice bucket. Did you say that on Juicy Scoop?
No, we don't need to get into that. I was
we
asked
can
not
talk
to talk
about that here.
No, I was asked not to talk about that.
Oh, I just talked about it. Sorry.
Okay, so then guys, put it together. You guys can figure that one out. Tara Reid comes over and she leans down. By the way, this goes back to the messy husbands, Logan and Leo. They go and find Tara Reid and come hopping over and bring her. And they're like, I have a present for you, and bring Tara over to the table. And she comes up and she's talking to Katie, but trying to talk to Ariana. But we're at this table where it's a circle and Ariana's back is all the way to the back, where it's like kind of at the end, right? So she can't really lean over that far. And she was trying to express, like, I just filmed Special Forces with Tom, and he's a really nice guy. He's a great guy. And pretty much you guys should forgive him, and all the just shit that nobody cares that she's saying.
None of your business.
None of your business. Nobody cares. Nobody asked Tara Reid. No, it doesn't matter. It's like, you're not the spokesperson for this. And really nobody gave a shit. But Logan and Leo knew that it would be funny because obviously they knew the background of this, which is not my story to tell. They're trouble, and bring them over. And I'm just dying laughing because as it's happening and she's talking and she's like this, you know, like it's a lot of finger pointing. They're just over here giggling their asses off, and Heather's laughing. Like, it was just hilarious. It was hilarious. And then she ended up walking away, and nobody gave her a reaction, which is the best way to do it. Nobody gave her a reaction. Nobody played into what she wanted. She wanted a moment. In that moment, she didn't get it. She tried to make her own, and then nobody gave into it. And then she stormed off, which is how that happened. And, you know,
I mean, literally, that's the best way to ignore drama is just don't react to crazy.
You don't no, that is honestly, and I'm sure too, because she comes from that old publicity way of People Mag and the paparazzi and the write-ups. And I'm sure it looks good, especially with Vanderpump Rules. I know she had a whole career. She was the it girl, but right now,
I
where is she?
remember.
Yeah. It's like where she used to party with Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears, Paris Hilton. She was running around with all of them. And then things kind of, you know, changed a little bit for her.
Fizzled out as it does in Hollywood.
As it does in Hollywood, right? You're there for a moment, not for a lifetime. Unless you're Madonna, then you're just there. And, you know, like I feel like for her, you know, she wanted this big moment reaction. And I think that they're so jaded by it, like the cast, especially because they're like, the cameras aren't rolling. We're not getting paid for a moment. So no, there is no moment happening.
There's
here.
no moment. No.
And I, you know, the way that they handled themselves with her, I thought was, honestly, I thought it was great. And then when she walked away, we continued on with the rest of our night and all of us had a blast. And then I was there with, I told you to come over and sit with me and you were working the room with all of our other friends. And then finally I was sitting with Scheana. I was asking her how she felt about her show. She was so happy. Heather was happy. Ariana and Katie thought it was great. Allie and James, like everybody was just in a good mood and like happy about everything. So I was happy.
It was a great night.
Yeah. Then it was a great night. And then we ended up getting back to the hotel that night.
And then it was not a great night.
No, I'm going to fast forward to the hotel story. You guys can listen to Juicy Scoop for that.
It's on Juicy Scoop. It was, oh man, I'm never taking 2 melatonin again. I usually take 1 and I'm dead. Like I'm out. But we hadn't slept. I remember getting on the plane. We slept 3 hours because we had to leave at like 3 a.m. to catch our flight.
I didn't sleep on the plane.
In Fort Lauderdale. I tried. Yeah. Remember we tried, but we were like working. We were like writing things out and thinking about what we need to do during this trip to make it successful. And then we land, we go to the hotel. We really didn't sleep the night before Scheana's show. And we damn well didn't sleep the night after Scheana's show. And then you rushed to Juicy Scoop because I was literally after 2 nights of being out in the West Hollywood scene in the nightlife. I was so exhausted. I don't know how you made it to Juicy Scoop.
I had 3.5 hours of sleep.
I know.
Yeah.
But can I tell you, so this is your second time on Juicy Scoop.
Okay, you guys. We're here.
Hi, Up and Adam.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to do such a good Juicy Scoop because we're going to talk all about last night and everything that happened. And so much happened after I left you, correct?
Correct.
And that's what we're going to talk about on Juicy Scoop.
We're going to have a big episode.
Huge, long episode. It's juicy. It's funny. We analyze housewives. And then it gets kind of personal, emotional, which is very juicy too.
I don't think anybody's made me cry like you.
Well, that's my gift.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Mm-hmm. And I remember you told me like last time when we went there, you were like really nervous because you were a fan of Heather's. Like I remember when Heather, I mean, from White Chicks. I remember Heather from the Chelsea Handler show, right? That's how I know her. I actually didn't know a lot about Juicy Scoop until we started doing YouTube. And she's really good at what she does. So it was really interesting this time to go back. And when you came back, you were supposed to be there. I think you were slotted for like, what, an hour and a half or something?
Yeah.
Right? And because we had another podcast and another podcast after that to get to. And I'm looking at my watch and it's like,
I was supposed to be there at 11. I got there at 10:45 and 10:40. I ended up leaving at 2:35, 2:45.
Yeah. It was, I'm like, how did this go? Well, he's like, you came back and you were like, this was the best conversation. And I've looked at the comments and I cannot believe that you shared that story that you shared. But at the same time, I've never seen Heather kind of like come out of like her, not character, but who she, you know, like how she does her show. Right. And it was so interesting to watch you guys have that dynamic. And it was such a great episode. It was, and I'm not just saying that because I like Heather and you're my husband, but it was really good. And I think a lot of people have have said that too.
I had so many people reach out to me after that, and I don't want to like dive into this because I am such a Cancer and I get so emotional and I cry over everything. But I had so many people who just watch Bravo or just watch Juicy Scoop, people who didn't even who don't even know me, or people, which most people don't know me. I'm not a star. I'm not a celebrity. So this is just, it was so nice to hear from people. But I even had Bravo talent reach out to me, and some Bravo talent that I've never actually spoken to. And I thought that the impact of it and all of the messages, like it was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages saying, I've been through this too, or I worry about my kids because they have this stepmom, or whatever the case was. It was just wild. But the Juicy Scoop episode,
it's wild because, you know, amazing. Like you, by saying that and being vulnerable, which this wasn't even on the topic for discussion, you know, like this was not even something that was supposed to be brought up, but by doing that,
cares, right? Like, why would I didn't go there for a therapy session.
No, but like just the fact that that was shared and you got so vulnerable with that. And I know we've shared a lot of things on our members or whatever, where we get pretty vulnerable and we'll open up and say things. But it's interesting on a show that has such a big impact like that to not only for you to be able to share that, but also this is good for you too. You hear from people who have went through the same situation. It's like, you're not alone. You know, a lot of people have dealt with this situation. A lot of people have gone through this. It was a very good conversation. But then I think we were drained at that point. I was dead. We were both just like, I think we laid on the bed for a minute. We moved all of the podcasts that we had afterwards. There was 2 more. They're both going to be on Zoom from here because we just didn't have the energy. And then our friends reached out to us and said, hey, you know, I would love to have you over, and I'm not telling our other friends that you're coming, and it will be a lot of fun. And I looked at Adam and I said, we have to go. We've known these people for 15 years. You know, it's I think even longer, 2 of them, you know. So we went over, and Adam didn't know that our other friends would be there, and our other friends didn't know we would both be there. And it was just such a nice night and a great conversation. Our friend Greg is on a show called Blue Bloods, and he was also in Billy Elliot and a couple of other big Broadway things where he won a Tony for. And he just had so much insight into the whole SAG-AFTRA thing. And when I was asking him about how he feels about reality joining and stuff like that, we're going to save that for Hot Messy Topics sometime this week when we talk about that. But really interesting insight, but also really interesting to hear that SAG-AFTRA hasn't moved the needle at all. So we could be in for a very long strike.
Yeah, crazy. No, there was a lot, you know, but it was the perfect ending to a very chaotic trip. And then,
it was calm.
It was such a calm ending. Yeah. And then we ended up going home that night. I got to sleep in my own bed that night. Well, my own hotel bed, not the, listen to Juicy Scoop again, but got to sleep in the good bed. And then woke up that morning and it was 6 o'clock. So for me, I'm still on East Coast time. That's 9 o'clock in the morning. And I asked Jason, I was like, Jason, and he was like, I'm like, get up, go get coffee. I need you to get out of the room. He's like, for what? I said, what time do we need to leave for the airport? He's like, we need to leave by 9:45. And I was like, oh no, I'm recording. Like I'm doing shows. And he's like, what? We're headed out for the airport. He's like, we have to pack up this room. We have to get our shit. And I was like, okay, just get a coffee. Don't worry about it. Like we'll be good.
I got this.
You take a shower. I'll have all the stories. I'll have everything ready and we'll do that. And then we did. We got some things up. And then we, headed to the airport. And lo and behold, there's a freaking hurricane headed straight for our home. So we get to the airport and we're like, this flight is definitely going to be canceled. It wasn't.
That's what I thought. I thought we were going to be there for at least another day or 2.
Oh, and then they go, excuse me, all passengers. We just want to let you know that we have a delay at the moment. We are experiencing problems with our engine. So please be patient with us. And by the way, the Wi-Fi is down on the flight. And if you need any pillows, the headrests or any earbuds, then make sure you buy them while you're in the airport. We don't have any of those either. And I was like, what the is going on? But then we got home. My mom picked us up and she cannot drive at night. She always swears she has night blindness. I swear that she just doesn't want to drive at night. And
yeah, I think so.
she drove an hour and a half to come pick us up. It's storming, raining, and she's trying to figure it out. The airport was chaotic. And then we got home finally at 10:30 at night, and we were just like, ah, and we sat into the couch. We were exhausted, and that was our trip. Literally.
That was our trip in a nutshell. And thank goodness, you know, our hearts go out to anybody who got hit by the hurricane, because that was awful. It's always awful down here in Florida when it's hurricane season. You know, it was going up, and it was actually heading over to our rental property in South Carolina. And I was like, it's going to hit it. Oh my gosh. Because we decided not to board up, remember? And then it completely missed it too. And I was like, someone is watching out for us. Someone.
Thank you. Thank you. But no, I mean, honestly, it was a killer trip. For out of a 10 out of 10, like, say if I could rate this trip 1 to 10, Jason, what are you giving it?
I am going to give it a 9.5, like a 9.5.
I'm giving it a 9.5 too, only because of the hotel room. But I'm thinking a 9.5 because also these stories are going to make the best stories at like a Thanksgiving dinner or a holiday dinner. Like these stories, you can't write this shit. And it was so much fun catching up with all of our friends, the people. Like I had a blast, and I was so happy that everybody was happy with the end result of everything that we did work-wise. People were happy. And that's all we went there to do
we were happy. It's a fun, positive, like trip. I'm saving that 10 though, when you ask me to rate something again for BravoCon, because what it's looking like right now and the people we have coming with us, and I know who you're running around with, and then I also know who I'm working with. So I just feel like this is going to be, that will be the 10 trip where I feel like we might have to put up a vlog every day. We try. And that's kind of what I wanted to do with LA. It's like, let's do a whole vlog, put it up that day. You know, not a lot of editing, just kind of like put it up. But when you're in these moments, it's like, you don't have time to even breathe. It's like,
unless you're Emily T. Baker, and then she's high and recording at the same time, and she's killing it. I'm like, she's a freaking octopus. She has like 5 hands, and I don't know how she does it. That's why I have so much respect for her. But you know, it's BravoCon, we're gonna have such great behind the scenes members only content for sure. I'll reserve the 10 for that as well. But for this, now that we finally recouped and we've gotten our, like, it's like, okay, like we're back in the groove of being at home, which by the way, while all of this is happening, our house is on the market. So we're getting text messages and calls from our realtor. It's just been nonstop. But you know what I mean? This is the stuff that makes it so fun to do what we do. And I think it's so fun and important to, you know, go back and forth and see people face to face and, you know, cultivate those relationships. Make sure that those relationships are important, not just because it's a work thing, but also because a lot of these are friendships that we've had for a long time. And when we are always working, sometimes this can feel like a breath of fresh air, even though it did not.
Absolutely. But, you know, and the other thing too is we always talk about how exhausted and tired and whatever. And let me tell you, it is in the best way. I'm so grateful for what we do. I'm so grateful for our other businesses. I'm so grateful for the people that are around us and stuff like that, because we can complain about being tired, but it's so worth it. It's so fun.
Yeah, I would take this tired any day over working in nightclubs or, you know, holding bottle service girls on my shoulder while they're like, happy 21st birthday. And I'm like, stop leaning to the left, lean to the right. And, you know, like, I don't miss that. And I have so much respect for everybody in every industry, especially my mom her career was in hospitality. That's all I knew, besides my other things. But at the end of the day, I will take this type of exhaustion over any other exhaustion that I've ever experienced 100%. In my life. And I'm so grateful for everybody, all of the sweet comments, just the Addams family in general. I brag on this community so much. And when I see people like at Scheana's show, I had so many people walk up to me and talk about, you know, I'm a part of the Addams family and my mom always watches and you make her day. And I'm like, what? And I'm just like hugging the moms and I'm like, give me a hug. Like, normally I'm socially awkward and I'm like, I don't like hugs. But in those moments, I just feel it's so humbling, you know, like it just reminds you like, wow. And I'm just happy to be happy. So being embraced by people or see people or just people being so kind, it's really like, I don't want to sound like a weirdo, but it's like touching. It like makes you just happy. And you're like, what? I'm like you think in your head, you're like, I'm a fucking nobody. Like Jason was a full-on star of Cirque du Soleil who performed for the Queen and hosted parties at George Clooney's
always love
house.
to throw in the Queen. That's
Because
you love to do that.
Huge. Like in the Cirque world, you're an actual star. I'm on here talking about who's cheating on who with Bravo talent. So the fact that we were able to make a whole community,
you know what it is though? It's the same emotion though. You're giving a lot of yourself to make people's day on stuff that they love to talk about, that we love to talk about, that you love to talk about. It's the same thing. It's the same gift. And I think that this community is just so positive, and we receive so many messages. And, I think I was talking on Hot Messy or something like that. I was like, I don't really get DMs. I just don't, because I'm really bad at social media. I have just zero time and patience for it. But then everyone DM'd me and just said, like, have a nice day. And I was like, this is that community. This is the community where it's positive. And I love seeing it stay positive and keep positive. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, guys, happy Labor Day, everyone.
Happy Labor Day weekend. And I think we are going to go see my dad and the rest of the family who's visiting right now. So I think with that, Jason, I'm pretty sure we covered all of it.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave your comments below.
Yeah, comment everything below, guys. Any questions, whatever you have, or just we love it. So just put it below, and we'll see you soon. Love you guys.
Bye, everyone.
If you guys want an update for something about her, she is, I believe, right here. Okay. No patio. We're doing it. Jason ahead of me, and we are headed to SUR. The SUR car. This is the prop car that's parked 2 blocks over. And you can ride it. Well, you can't ride it. You can get in it. You can take photos with it, I guess. Get in. I don't think I want to. It's not for me. Oh, God.